Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Social Samosa Live to celebrate the World Social Media Day. My name is Sagar Kaul, and I'm the founding CEO of MetaFact, where we are developing AI-based tools to detect misinformation and disinformation in real time. I'm really excited to talk about deepfakes, and thank you, Social Samosa, for giving me this opportunity. So, what are deepfakes? I'll start with a definition that is being agreed upon by different researchers and different organizations that are working on the issue. And that is basically, deepfake is a technique for human image synthesis based on artificial intelligence. It's used to combine and superimpose existing images and videos onto source images or videos using a machine learning technique known as generative adversarial network. The phrase deepfake was coined in 2017. The initial use that we saw of deepfakes was used for superimposing images of Hollywood celebrities onto porn stars. The first instance that was found was almost by end of 2017, where a Redditor named Defects had started this as his hobby. And what he used to do was, a basic face swapping of celebrity faces onto, porn performer bodies. One of the videos that he had created was of Taylor Swift that made a sort of a headline, and that's wherein people realized that there is something called deepfakes, wherein a manipulation of image can be done. In simpler terms, if we talk about, or if we have to define deepfakes, then it's basically deepfakes are fake videos or audio recordings that look and sound just like the real thing, but are created by superimposing images of intent and target to an existing video and using voice synthesis for voiceovers. Going to the next part of it would be what are the scenarios wherein deepfakes are used globally as well as here in India. So to start with, let me just finish the global part before that, and then I'll come to how we see this happening in India. So globally, in last 1.5 years, we have seen deepfakes being created of celebrities, basically, politicians. The best example would be a video that was created by MIT last year of the previous president of United States, Obama. And that was a best example to show how easy it was to create a deepfake video of a politician of such a grandeur. And again, how dangerous can this be? Idea behind deepfakes is always to create a disharmony, create fake news, misinformation as we know it now. And in that video, we understood, since Obama was a public leader, so there were lots and lots of photos available of him online. And how this technology works is basically the program or the application. What it does is it basically takes those photos, it understands the facial features of that particular person, and then it tries to impose those facial features onto the video wherein we want the face swap to be done. And then along with that, we have softwares that synthesize your voice, so it becomes easier to do both at the same time. So if you have a little bit of knowledge, you have the application softwares available to you. Creating a deepfake will take you around about, let's say, 2 to 5 hours. And again, not being complex. The thing that we saw recently regarding deepfakes was, in US, it was a briefing that was happening at White House. And we saw a video that was manipulated to show a particular journalist belonging to a particular news channel, basically being aggressive with an intern who was trying to take the mic away. So these are small examples. Other example being one of the presidential candidate who's running right now, a deepfake was created of her, showing her to be drunk. So this is on a global scale. Now coming to India, We just saw few incidents of deepfakes lately coming in line, wherein a female journalist, her photos were swapped onto again a porn actor, and the videos were circulated through WhatsApp to show her in a compromising position. It was eventually found out that it was a morphed video, and things were settled down. But again, as of now, if I have to say how serious is the problem of deepfakes in India, I would say we still have some time, but we are slowly seeing an increase in creation of deepfake content when it comes to the India as a country. In 2019, that being the best example, we saw some videos that were created through deepfakes, but in those videos, it was not primarily used to superimpose faces of politicians or celebrities or influencers and then putting them on the video, but then it was mainly done in a way wherein you would have a video from some other location or some incident that would have happened a couple of years back, and then through the voice synthesizers they would be using audio of some known politician, and they talking to their audience. That means people who will be looking at that WhatsApp message and just telling them or provoking them to do certain things or to act in certain ways. So as far as India is concerned, we still have some more time, but I'm definitely sure and confident that we will be hit with deepfakes within this coming year or max by next year, because again, internet being cheap, smartphone being cheap, readily available applications online, wherein creating a deepfake is not a problem, and you don't even need to be technically sound to do that. We will see an increase on that. Moving from here, the best thing, how do we spot deepfake? I mean, we do have technology, we do have tech companies that are trying to come up with solutions, including us. We are also trying to figure out a way to create a technology that is able to understand and detect deepfakes in real time. But the problem as of now is the technology that we have at our disposal is okay. We can work on that. But then again, people who are creating deepfakes are also looking at the similar technology. They do understand the limitation of the technology that we have at disposal right now. And then they work their way towards creating loopholes in those technologies and creating content to just bypass the whole detection process. If we have to, I mean, the other ways of detecting fake, deepfakes is through your own eyes. So the basic thing would be, since we use images to morph a video, and these images most of the time are pulled out, down from internet or from your Facebook or your Instagram. So in majority of the photos, we always have our eyes open because nobody likes to get clicked with their eyes closed. So in a deepfake video, you'll always see minimum eye blinks. That has to be the first sign that the video is doctored. Now, the thing about that is, when you look at a video, the mouth, it would be, simply going the way a person speaks. The movement of the body might be very natural and everything, but then at the same time, there would be no blinks. So it would look like a robot trying to, speak to you or things like that. The other way to understand deepfake videos is to always look, at the ends of your face. So if a video is, if an image is manipulated and put onto a morphed video, there will be pixelations at the end of your face of that particular person. So you got to look carefully for those pixelations. You have to see at the shadow placing. If there is a shadow in the image, then just see if the shadow looks natural to you, if this, looks manipulated. Earlobes is, again, it's one of the tested, formulas to detect at least fake images when it comes to that. With fake videos, the way we work around that is to, check the content like frame by frame. You freeze the frame, you look at those positioning of the, the shadows around, and things like that. Distorted pixelations, if you find that. So these are the very basic ways in which deepfake can be detected as of now. We do have certain softwares that are available in the market that can do that. But again, as I said, that technology, it is working, but then again, until unless we don't have good data sets available to train that technology, it becomes difficult to, just basically detect that. But then, saying that, I'll just try and make you understand how basically deepfake works as a program, as an application. What's the tech that goes behind that? So basically, deepfakes exploits human tendency using generative adversarial networks, in which basically two machine learning modules fight it out. So one model trains the data set and then creates a video forgery, while the other attempts to detect that forgery. So the basic idea is that one set is creating the fake, the other set is trying to establish whether this is fake or not. And once the other set is not able to detect that it's fake, you have generated a deepfake video of that. So that's the tech that in basic terms goes behind that. And again, as I said, the understanding is the same. We as a tech platforms or tech companies who are trying to figure out a way to detect misinformation in real time. It's the same. We are looking at the same research that is happening right now. So as people who are creating these deep fake videos, going through that very same research, so they are at par. In some ways they're a step ahead of us in understanding or manipulating this whole system. Moving on. Deepfakes and fake news, threat to the nation. I mean, it's obvious by now. Everybody understands that deepfakes are part of the whole ecosystem of fake news that we know as misinformation and disinformation. It becomes easier to manipulate a video. As an example, if we have a video of, let's say, coming from Syria and it's of a bomb blast, and we just change the headline of that video when we are forwarding it on WhatsApp or even on our Facebook, profiles, and we just say the blast happened somewhere in India. Now you have just created a fake video. You have created a manipulated video right there and then, and it's easy. It just takes you 2 minutes, 3 minutes. But then on the other side, as companies or as people who are fact checking or trying to detect such misinformation, to reach that sort of content, it takes a lot of time for us to do that as of now with the limited resources that are available to us. So the only thing going forward that is going to help till the time we do have successful tools that are able to figure out such type of content in real time is people being educated about it, is people understanding that there can be something like this that can happen. So if you come up with a video, you see a video, and somewhere it just does not click, just don't assume it to be correct. It does not matter who has shared that video. It does not matter whether it's your best friend or your family, or even if you see a logo of a reputed news channel, because all these things are so easy to be manipulated technically at this time that it's always good to go to the second reference. Just go to Google. Just try and see if there is something available in that particular direction. If it's talking about XYZ has said something like this, try and look it up yourself. There seemed to be a problem with my connection. I'm really sorry for that. So again, how do we detect deepfakes, and how do we fight this menace that we have right now? Again, detection, I already covered to some extent, wherein you can see for eye blinks, you can see for shadows, you can see for air lobes, or you can just try and go check the Twitter feeds. Now, since we are living in times wherein social media is a very, very important part of almost everyone's life. For some, it's important professionally. For some, it's important personally, because this is the way that you remain in touch with your friends, family, give updates on what's happening and everything. So as an individual, my chances of getting affected with deepfakes are very high, because a lot of my images, my photos are available online. So basic idea, as I had initially told you about deepfakes, how it's created is they look for your images online. Those images are downloaded, put into the machine learning modules so that they understand your features and everything, and then the superimposition becomes much easier to do. Now, again, it's unfortunately, we cannot just stop getting onto our social media platforms, or we can't just stop uploading our photos and sharing it with our friends and family. But then one way of making sure that the effects of deepfake, if they are created against you, or you become a target of deepfakes, is always, as soon as you come to know that there is a deepfake of you, you as an influencer, you as a brand, you as a business entity, or any individual who gets affected, the best thing would be to just, update a status on your Facebook. Just tweet out that, I've heard that there are videos circulating of me in XY, form or things like that. And I just want to say that it's not me, it's a morphed video. Just don't wait for you to personally check that video, because the whole idea of misinformation and fake news is to spread it as soon as possible, because once it crosses a threshold wherein it has already reached a certain amount of likes, shares or comments, it is going to go viral through different means. So just don't wait for you to check it yourself to see if you're able to find it, you're able to fact check it, and then you come out. The first thing and the most important thing should be, people should know about this from your own account. Because I, as an individual, if I come around a deepfake video of some influencer or some politician that I follow, my instant reaction would be first to go to their accounts and to see if something like that has happened, if there is a statement coming out from that particular person. And the second would be to just go to Google search and then just give different keywords and just see if there is any news regarding this that is coming out. And basically just to make sure that what I'm seeing is real. And once I know that it's not, then I, as a user, my responsibility becomes not to share that information, or to let other people know that this is what I found and this is how it should be dealt with. So I think as of now, again, summing up, how to fight deepfakes, we have very limited technology, but then technology is being researched. People are working on technologies to come up with solutions that will work in real time. So that means if there is a video of you, out there somewhere online, which is being morphed, and you have access to such tools and applications, it will pull that down for you. But then till that happens, you have to educate yourself. You have to be up to date with the latest findings, latest research. And it's always just a Google search away. It's not just specific to deepfakes. It's very specific to misinformation that is spread on WhatsApp, misinformation that you might find on Twitter, on Facebook, on different platforms. It's always good to just go online, do some bit of research yourself, and then come back, make up your mind whether this is true or this is not true. So basically, that's all I can say about deepfakes at this time. And again, educating people. If you see someone posting something like that, even from your friends, even from your family, in WhatsApp groups, anywhere on social platforms, just take an initiative. Maybe you don't want to confront the person directly on your Facebook page or on their page. Send a simple message that I think what you have shared is incorrect because this is what I found. So unless we don't educate each other, the problem of deepfakes, which is part of misinformation, which even is a bigger problem, we won't be able to solve this issue. And this is going to get bad with every passing year, because we are getting technology that is going to be better. We are getting internet that is going to get cheaper. And keeping all those things in mind, it's a problem that can be a huge risk for the security of your country, for security of your own self, for the security of your brand, and things like that. So I would just answer the questions if there are some. I'm sorry I lost the earlier questions that were put. Ashwarya asks, is there a way to protect ourselves from deepfakes? Again, I had mentioned slightly about that, but then I'll just add a few things more. Is one of the best ways is to just keep googling yourself. I know this sounds a bit egoistic or things like that, but then there's no harm. There's no harm to see what is out there that is available online, because this might be the best possible way for you to see if there is some sort of such morph videos or any sort of content that is presenting you in a false manner and which is not true. So the best thing would be to keep googling yourself. If you are a brand and you're using technology that helps you understand your sentiment, the sentiments that are spoken about your brands, again, keep an eye on that. If you see somewhere people are talking about, oh, we saw something that said XYZ, then just try and get in touch with that particular person and just see if they can forward you that content. Because again, as I said, till the time technology comes at power and is able to do this for you, you have to rely on your users, you have to rely on your fans, you have to rely on Google. Saurabh asks, can deepfakes be used for public good? Well, the best example are the memes that we see. Those are again creation of deepfakes, wherein you'll have celebrities or random people doing random stuff, and this is somewhere a small part of deepfakes. In larger context, if we might see use of deepfakes in creating audio visuals, small feature length, skits or comedy shows, things like that. So yeah, definitely. I mean, there is scope of using deepfakes for fun stuff. But as of now, what we are seeing is more on the negative side of it rather than on the positive side of it. But hopefully, it will. Oh yeah. So the questions that we lost because of the disruption was on the similar lines of deepfakes. There is one for mimicking voice as well. What are your thoughts? Does it have any good use? Oh yeah, audio synthesis is the other part, because just creating a deepfake minus the audio is not going to be impactful. So as an example, again, when I spoke about the video that was created of Obama by MIT, if it was just him standing out there and we could just see his mouth moving, it does not make an impact to us because we just didn't know what he was talking about. But then again, once you get the sound part into it, and it again becomes easier if you're a celebrity, if you're an influencer, and you have a lot of videos available online where you are speaking. Again, these are the data sets that train the machine learning modules to understand your high pitch, your low pitch, and then accordingly converts that and slices it into the morph video that we call the deepfake. So yeah, I mean, it's voice synthesis is a possibility. It's happening, and it's a very important part of deepfakes. How can deepfakes be used for public good? Again, I mean, if you have messages that you want to send out to your users or to your consumers, you can create a deepfake video in a very funny way. You can use influencers who give you who are okay with you using them in their manipulated videos, and show them doing funny stuff or morph their images on some stunt people or anything. So I mean, this is something that we have always seen in big budget movies wherein we have special effects. So it's part of that, but then now the hardware that is required, the software that is required, and the finances that are required to create something like that is very low. It's any person with working internet, smartphone, and again, access to these softwares can create it. So, you have all moved away from, fancy softwares that were used previously to create special effects. Now you do have deepfakes that can almost do similar things for you. What is the positive and negative impact you see in near future? Let me start with the negative impact first, because that's what we are seeing currently, and that would be, again, you might have a morphed video. So this is as an example. Let's say there's a company that is going public, sorry, and then we see a video of the CEO making a statement that is going to be destructive for that particular company. Now, things like that have financial repercussions. The company might lose the initial revenue that they thought they might create. Again, talking about politics, you can create communal disharmony by, creating videos of politicians saying something that is going to be, in terms of creating hatred for communities or different political parties, or even just the day-to-day functioning of the government. So if we go into the negativity of deepfakes, it's a really, really, bad thing that we can have as of now, because again, with misinformation, with images, you just see an image, you can do Google reverse search, you can, do Google search and come up with things. But with deepfakes, unless either you are not trained to understand that it's a deepfake video, or you don't have tools that can detect that for you, for people with limited knowledge and technology, especially in tier 2 and tier 3 towns and villages, if they come up with a video on WhatsApp and it's one of their leaders telling them to do something, it can be, you can just imagine what can happen. Just a small example. Last year, we had, unfortunately, these videos that were circulated about child kidnappers. In a span of 6 months, we had 23 deaths that happened because of that. And the videos were not even morphed. They were just put out with different headlines or different context to it. So yeah, definitely, it's a very, dangerous thing. Positive would be, in entertainment business. You can see a positive side of deepfakes in entertainment as funny skits or, funny short films or things like that. Is there a way to protect ourselves from deepfakes? I already have covered that. Do our laws protect against deepfakes? So the cyber laws that we have right now are not exactly catered to handle something like this. We would need a lot of policy changes and law changes if we want to go into that direction, because first of all, it would need to be defined what deepfakes are, in what circumstances can law intervene and things like that. Again, we do have laws, but then those laws would need to be strengthened for particular cyber problems, because this will come under the cyber issue. Then we have Ashwarya asking, is deepfake porn a consequences of sexism and patriarchy? It's just too early for at least me to say that, but then just seeing how it all started, it did start with porn. So the only reason why it was because it was easy to superimpose images back, at that time with limited technology onto a naked body of another, female or male for that matter. It's just that that particular Reddit user, Defake, started using it with, female porn stars. Now the idea is, if we are superimposing or if we are photoshopping an image onto a different image, we always tend to have clean backgrounds. You don't want to be, wearing things that are too colorful, that might hinder the Photoshop process. So the idea again was initially to experiment it with bodies that had, unfortunately no clothes because they were porn stars. And it was easy for the machine to learn and counter those things and come up with those new images. Sandhya has a question. Also, are social media platforms like Facebook, WhatsApp doing something to detect and remove deepfakes? Yeah, Facebook has just recently, they are trying to come up with their own policy on deepfakes, especially after a video of Mark was, came out. It was again supposed to be fun. This was not done to, discredit the company or Mark for that matter, but then it was to show how easy it is to morph a video, to create a deepfake. And Facebook, at least as of now, is trying to work. WhatsApp, again, is a tricky thing because of the encryption policy that they have. I'm sure, other platforms also are looking into this, because this is, as we say, the next biggest problem that we will see in the space of misinformation and disinformation. We have a suggestion rather from Sumit Roy. Oh, sorry. Thanks, Sumit. Then we have Nisrag Joshi. Is there a way to detect deepfakes? Nisrag, yeah, I did touch this topic. I'll just repeat it again. So the basic idea is to understand how deepfakes are created, and the best simple answer to that is, for creating deepfakes, I need to download your images from either be it Facebook, be it Insta, be it a simple Google search through your name. And then I'll try to have as many as photos of you with different poses, different angles of your face, so that when I'm training my application on that, it understands your facial features perfectly, and then it superimposes those onto the existing video. So one way of understanding if it's a deepfake is to just constantly keep looking at the eyes of the person that is in that video and just see the blink. Most of the time you won't see a blink happening. Some of the times, because now the technology is getting better on the other side as well, so you will see blinks, but then those blinks are not natural blinks. You might have double layering of your of the eyelashes or the eyebrows. Look for pixelations. There has to be pixelations at the border of the face on that particular video, the shadow, the positioning of ear lobes, because you can have images, until unless the person is not taking clear mug shots of you. The superimposition of image onto a morphed video will never be absolute. So that means it's never going to be perfect. So there are always telltale signs, about things being missing here and there. Especially in females, you will see, if a photo of a female is morphed onto a video, if the person is wearing an earring, you might see a mismatch of the earrings, because again, it's a creation of multiple, photos from that particular profile that was, downloaded and fed into the machine learning module, and then that module comes up with its own thing. So basic idea is educate yourself about it. One good thing is that there is a discussion that is starting to happen around deepfakes. So that means deepfakes are already out there in the public domain. People are able to understand about deepfakes. So just educate yourself as much as you can. Just read as much as you can online. Do a random Google search and just see, what all there is happening. By the time, or till the time, we have technology powerful enough to detect those things for you, be it from your mobile phone, be it from your browser, or a standalone tool in itself. I mean, till then, the only way for everyone of us to fight deepfakes is going to be through educating ourselves. And if you as a user, you as a person has come across a video that you see in deepfake, talk about that. Let people know that there's something out there that does not look good. I mean, you can send that video to us. I mean, that's what we do at MetaFact. So that's it for me. Thank you so much for listening and being out there. And please stay tuned in. There are other fabulous speakers who are going to come up. Thank you. Have a nice day.